Greg Ehrenberg here with a PrizePicks video for the NFL season. We've been doing a lot of basketball ones recently, but the NBA season is over, so looking ahead to the football season. Now, if you're curious about what's going on over at PrizePicks, obviously there's no individual football games happening now, but they do have a bunch of props up for the NFL season. Really anything you could think of. Rushing yards, passing yards, touchdowns, fantasy points, all of that. If you want to go check it out and make your first deposit over at PrizePicks, use the promo code Awesemo and get up to a $100 match deposit bonus. For today's video, I'm looking at some of the running backs for this season and my favorite rushing yards props. The first player that I'm looking at is Ezekiel Elliott for over 1,100.5 rushing yards. So Zeke last year really had a disappointing year in the totality of the season. However, I think we could attribute a lot of that to Dak Prescott's injury for a couple of reasons. Number one, the offense wasn't nearly as good, but also the team wasn't as good. So just the game scripts weren't very favorable for Zeke. But now this year, Zeke looks like he's in good shape. Dak Prescott's going to be healthy and starting at quarterback. So that should mean a couple of things. The Cowboys' offense is going to be much better, and they should also be leading in more games, which means more rushing attempts for Elliott in the fourth quarter of games. The next running back that I'm looking at is somebody who I am lighter on than the PrizePicks projections. J.K. Dobbins has an over-under of 1,050.5 rushing yards. I think Dobbins is a really talented player, and he had some really nice highlights last year. But the issue is just the overall volume and workload for him. If you look at his game logs last year, he didn't have a single game where he had more than 15 carries. And then just add in running backs, there's always injury risk. If he's not going to be getting a super heavy workload, and then the chance that he also misses a game or two, it's hard for me to reliably say he's going to rush for well over 1,000 yards. The last player I'm looking at is a guy who went viral on Twitter in the offseason is Mike Davis and his gigantic quad. So he certainly looks built for a massive workload this year. And if you look at the Falcons depth chart heading into the season, Todd Gurley isn't there anymore, and it's just a team that's pretty thin at running back. They've got Mike Davis, they've got Cordarrelle Patterson, they've got Kadri Allison, but this is really not a team that's loaded at running back. So Mike Davis certainly looks like he could have to handle a pretty big load this year. And considering that his total is only 800.5 yards, I like the over there. So to summarize, the three players that I'm looking at here, it is Ezekiel Elliott for over his rushing yards. It is J.K. Dobbins for under his projected rushing yards, and Mike Davis for over his number. If you're new to PrizePicks, head on over to PrizePicks.com. Use the promo code Awesemo. Get up to a $100 bonus on the first deposit you put down. Also, there's different ways you could play these props here. There's the flex play where if you choose that, you don't have to get all three. If you get 2 out of 3, you still get 1.25x your money back. But if you are really confident in all three of these props, you can play them as the power play. If all three of them hit, that is a 5x return on your money.